Got up and said, we cannot begin until noon, so we have 45 seconds to kill. So we're just going to stand here and look pretty. And I was like, that was very funny. It's noon.
Oh, he is. Okay.
So they had the bells started going off at St. Peter's. It's noon.
Hey, I'd like to call this St. Charles County Council meeting of Monday, January the 13th, into order. We will begin our meeting with invocation that will be delivered by Pastor Michael Pope of Emmanuel United Church of Christ in Weldon Springs, Missouri, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, in which I will lead. Please stand.
Thank you for this privilege, and thank you for your service. Let us pray. Gracious God, when some people pray the Lord's Prayer, they pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. But what they're really praying is, Our Father who art in heaven, stay there. We ask for your blessing, but then fail to listen to you and take you seriously. We do this to our own detriment and danger. So tonight, dear God, we not only ask for your presence in this meeting of the St. Charles County Council, but we ask for your perfect will to be done in our discussions, in our deliberations, in our debates, and in our decisions. We realize that we will probably not all agree on a given topic, but help us to actively listen to each other and respect each other, regardless of our position. Help us to practice the fine art of communication and persuasion, and to remain friends and neighbors no matter what the final vote or action may be. Use each elected and appointed person and staff person here tonight as a servant of you and of others. Bless their families, bless their friends, bless our county, and may we all benefit from the collective work that we do now in your name, and for your sake and the sake of our citizens. This we pray in the name of Jesus the Christ, who loves us all and gave his life so that all of us may find our way home to you. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Councilman Swanson.
Here, ma'am.
Councilman Brazel. Councilman Elam.
Here?
Councilman Hollander.
Here.
Councilman Hammond.
Here.
Councilwoman York. Here. Councilman Baker.
Here.
Okay. Our first order of business tonight is the election of the County Council Chair, and I will now open things up for nominations. Mr. Swanson?
I nominate Mike Elam.
Okay. Mr. Elam has been nominated. Do I have other nominations?
Yeah, I nominate Joe Brazel.
Okay, Mr. Brazel. So we have any other nominations? Okay, so we now have two two nominees. What the procedure will be is you will call out each name. We will do Mike Elam first, since he was nominated first. Vote for or say yes or no, and then we'll go through and vote Mr. Brazel the same way. Okay?
For Mike Elam for council chair, Councilman Swanson.
Yes.
Councilman Brazel.
No.
Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
No.
Councilman Baker.
No.
Okay. Now we will go through the second nomination for Mr. Brazel. Okay?
For Councilman Brazel for council chair, Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Councilman Elam.
No.
Councilman Hollander.
No.
Councilman Hammond.
No.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
No.
Okay. I believe that by a vote of 4-3, our new council chairman will be Mr. Mike Elam. Okay? All right. We will, I guess we'll just switch chairs. How are you going to do this here, Claire? We'll just switch chairs for this.
I'll swap it.
There you go. Okay, that's fine.
We have the right names now?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. With that, we'll take nominations for council vice chair.
Okay, I'd like to nominate Matt Swanson.
Matt Swanson is one. Anyone else? Please call the roll.
For council vice chair, Matt Swanson. Councilman Elam.
Yes.
Councilman Hollander.
Yes.
Councilman Hammond.
Yeah.
Councilman Hammond.
Yes.
There he is.
Councilwoman York.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Councilman Swanson.
Yes.
Councilman Brazel.
Yes.
Mr. Swanson is vice chair. Congratulations, sir. Next item of business is conditional use permit, and that is bill number 5358. Understand that there is a motion to amend.
I'll read the bill first. Bill number 5358, an ordinance granting conditional use permit CUP 24-06 for a telecommunication tower to Union Electric Company, property owner, and Diamond Towers 7 LLC applicant.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to amend Bill number 5358 and replace it with substitute Bill number 5358.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay.
Discussion. Robert, do you want to come up and talk a little bit about the substitute?
Yes, without trying to introduce too much information into the record, essentially what's happened since the last county council meeting, the applicants have amended their rezoning application from C1 Neighborhood Business District to CO Office District. And a tower is also allowed in that district with the same restrictions as well. But they stated that they felt like that the uses would be more in keeping with some of the comments that they had heard previously, the concerns about future land uses in that area.
Any questions for Robert? I would ask all in favor of substitute. Say yes.
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 Any opposed?
Yes.
So the substitute is now on the floor. Remember, this is a supermajority is required to pass this, so we'll take 5 to get this done. Would you please call the roll?
Substitute Bill number 5358, an ordinance granting conditional use permit CUP 24-06 for a telecommunication tower to Union Electric Company, property owner, and Diamond Towers 7 LLC applicant. Councilman Hammond.
Yes.
Councilwoman York.
No.
Councilman Baker?
No.
Councilman Swanson?
No.
Councilman Brazel?
No.
Councilman Elam?
No.
Councilman Hollander?
No.
So the CUP fails. That will bring us to conditional use permit 5362.
Bill number 5362. Requested by Mike Hurlbert, sponsored by Joe Brazel. An ordinance granting conditional use permit CUP 24-07 for a campground, including cottages and camping cabins, to SFH Properties LLC property owner and Sunflower Hill LLC applicant.
Robert?
Do you solemnly swear that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. My name is Robert Myers. I'm the Planning and Zoning Division Director for St. Charles County. I'd like to make a short presentation on what this application involves. It's a campground conditional use permit in the agricultural zoning district on 105 acres on Terry Road. It's located, generally speaking, near Klondike Park, Highway 94 South. It's within a short distance of the Katy Trail. And across the road, on the other side of Terry Road, you have an existing Sunflower Hill farm. You may recall that they have a conditional use permits for Sunflower Hill Farm. They have a residence, but they have CUPs also for a commercial farm stand, for a cafe, and to hold special events like weddings as well. The applicants have stated that they're hoping that this conditional use permit for a campground would have kind of a synergy with what they're already operating on the other side of Terry Road, in that people who stay at the campground could eat at the cafe, for instance, or those who are at special events could stay at the campground, for instance. The 105 acres is practically all wooded and heavily forested, and the 15 camping cottages that are being proposed would all be clustered within a 1.5 acre area in the middle of the tract. So again, it's heavily forested. The nearest residences are 1,200 feet to the south and 1,500 feet to the northeast. The conditional use permit criteria is discussed in detail in the written staff report, but I would mention just very briefly the criteria are: would the conditional use be detrimental to or endanger public health, safety, or the general welfare? Would the conditional use injure the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted? Would the conditional use injure the aesthetic and/or scenic values of the vicinity? Would the conditional use substantially diminish or impair property values within the neighborhood? Would the conditional use impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted in the zoning district? At their December 18th, 2024 meeting, the Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing, took testimony, and following which they voted 7 in favor and 0 for denial for this conditional use permit. County staff likewise recommends approval as conforming to the conditional use permit criteria that were previously cited, and specifically for the reasons that are spelled out more fully in the written staff report.
Any questions for Robert?
Is there a site plan, or do we not required for this, or what?
There is a concept plan that's as part of the packet. It's quite detailed in that it's a little bit difficult to read, but it does show that in the center of the 105 acres, there's an existing, almost a logging road that winds around the crest of the hill, comes to the center of the property, and within the center of the top of the hill is where they're proposing that 1.5 acres for the 15 cabins. Tonight we have the applicants, Michael and Karen Kinneman, and I'm sure they have some remarks to make as well.
Thank you. She'll swear you in.
Do you Do you solemnly swear you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Thank you for having us here this evening. I think Robert gave a pretty good description of what we're doing, but I'll just add a little color for you. We bought the property in that whole area, Sunflower Hill Farm, in 2014. We came here in, I think, 2017 to get a CUP to building a wedding event center. We were here a year later to expand it into a cafe. And since we did that, 6 years have gone by. We've been really successful. I mean, I think we have a great brand. We're kind of distinguished in the wedding market, especially in the rural area. Like, a lot of people like to come out to the farm to have their weddings. We've made economic contributions to the state, the city, the county. I think we've paid like $265,000 in sales tax, maybe $250,000 in employment taxes, maybe $150,000 in real estate and personal property taxes. So I think it's been a good investment back to the community. And even locally, my wife's very creative. Like, you might have seen the painted silos along the Katy Trail that you've read about. That was her idea. She's got another big art project going this year that's even going to be bigger on the Katy Trail. And so now we're into like, well, what do we do next? What do we do to sustain this for the long term? As my son Rob, the manager, will eventually take over for all of us as we age out. How do we maintain that competitive edge? And so one of the challenges, we've controlled most of the activities to give that great experience. But when it comes to lodging, most of our guests end up booking rooms in Chesterfield. I mean, we try to get them to use all the bed and breakfasts locally, but a lot of those brides and their moms are one-stop shoppers. They want to get it done, and I give them 6, 7, 8 names, and they got to coordinate schedules. It's just not a great experience, and they opt to go to Chesterfield. And it's sort of like, why do we want them to go to Chesterfield if we can get them to stay on site? At least the close family members and the wedding parties, okay? Don't really like that group traveling late at night anyway, so it's a good way to kind of keep them captured. So that's what we're trying to do. This is going to be pretty high-end cottages. It'll be things that people will really enjoy and have a great time. People ask what's going to happen Sunday through Thursday when you're not doing weddings, right? And there's 2 other business needs that we see. One is related to corporate retreats. Post-pandemic, with all the work from remote, et cetera, you'll find a lot of management teams are kind of afraid and not really emotionally connected that they need to be to lead their organizations. And they're starting to explore, how do we bring that, connectivity back? And they're starting to look at different retreats. Well, we're a very affordable retreat, right? I mean, you can leave Chesterfield, O'Fallon, wherever. You can come out to where we are down on the Katy Trail out there between Defiance and Augusta, and you feel like you're 300 miles away from civilization. It's a very enjoyable place. It's real quick to get back into nature and your peers and the people you're working with and really have a good time. So that's the second objective. The third is the Katy Trail. There's a couple things we see out there. There are a lot of tour guides out there that will take bike riders out, one-day adventures, bring them back. They want them to stay somewhere. We can afford that, right? We can host them, spend the night. They can have dinner at the various restaurants out in the Defiance Augusta region. We don't need to be the ones serving dinner every night, but we think we can add to the overall community. And then longer term, what we'd like to do is what I would call the Sunflower Hill Farm experience, where people come out to the farm to learn about farming, agriculture, ranching, beekeeping, all the different things, cooking, all kinds of things they could do in like a 2 or 3 day experience, where we would build those relationships with all the local people to create those experiences. So we wouldn't necessarily offer all those experiences, but we could connect to the community and give people like a 2 or 3 day experience out at Sunflower Hill Farm, out off the Katy Trail in the Defiance Augusta area. So that's sort of the theory of what we're trying to get done.
Any questions for the applicant? Swanson.
Conditional permit use number 2 says that no campground cottage shall be leased, rented, or advertised or occupied by the same occupants for more than 30 days per calendar year. Is that just standard language that we have in there, staff? Or is that requested?
That's right. I did a little research, and under state law and the county law, The 30 days is pretty much the break between considered to be temporary guest lodging and more permanent resident. And that's in place in order to help ensure that these do not turn into permanent residences.
Because during the planning and zoning meeting, there was a speaker who wanted to increase that number.
Right.
And I want to ask the applicant, are you fine with the 30 days, or were you looking to increase that?
I think we're fine with the 30 days.
Okay.
We're flexible. I mean, it'll be more profitable if we have people coming all the time, not paying a monthly rent. I've got another business that does that.
So you know what I was referencing
Yeah,
during the.
yeah.
the
We're
NC
fine with the 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? With that, thank you.
All right? Thank you.
With that, we'll turn to public comment on this. Do we have speaker?
I don't have anyone. No one.
Mike, can I come in?
Yeah.
I just want to say that Conant has been a good contribution to the community, and this is a great plan. And we do need more stuff out there for people to stay because of the winers and stuff. We want that kind of activity. We want tourism. And Mike's he's on the DMA with me. He's our treasurer, so he's highly involved in the community. So this is definitely a positive thing, and I have got not one complaint or concern about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a quick question? Where'd he go?
Do you want a question of the applicant or staff?
Well, the applicant, were you thinking of having RVs and things down the line, or you're just staying with the cabins?
I didn't hear.
Are you staying just with cabins at the campground, or is this something that eventually you want to be able to bring in RVs and
No,
things like
it
that?
would just be these cabins.
Okay, thank you.
We got a whole RV campground down the street.
There's someone who has one of those down there, huh?
Just want to make sure.
So if I remember from planning and zoning, these are about 350-foot
350 square
cabins
feet, right.
with king-size beds only, which brought up the question of how many people can stay there, ideally two, but
Right.
that's it's you and your cabin, man, not asking questions. So they're not really set up for long-term. They have a kitchen and
No.
private bathroom and all that, but they're not really set up to be long-term rentals.
Right.
Awesome. Any other questions for the applicant while they're here? Thank you. With that, we'll dismiss you and close the public hearing at this time on this conditional use permit. We'll do a final vote on this in 2 weeks, assuming everything runs to course. With that, that moves us to public comment. On public comment, you have 3 minutes in which to state your opinion. That clock will count down your 3 minutes from there. Generally, on every topic, we take 3 speakers, 3 for, 3 against, and we will start with our first speaker.
Bill number 5359, Thomas Waninsky.
Thank you for having me. My name is Tom Vaneski from Diamond Tower 7, 120 Mountain Avenue, Springfield, New Jersey. I just wanted to briefly discuss Bill 5359. While we are disappointed in the outcome of the CUP, we do believe that there is a path forward here for AT&T to be able to remain on air when their lease is terminated as of July of 2025. As of July 2025, they need to come off that tank. And so what we tried to do with the amendment that was discussed earlier, moving from the C1 to the CO zoning district, was to make it a more restrictive underlying use of that property if it was to be approved. The the CO district is designed for low intensity. It's only office uses. The code itself prohibits any retailing, wholesaling, or manufacturing on the lot. So that would alleviate any concerns of gas stations, stop and shops, anything that would come through there. It's designed simply as a transitional zone between residential and commercial uses. It's only 1.92 acres. There's not a lot that could be done on that property anyway. Ameren has accepted this. They have signed our letter of application changing from the C1 zone to the CO zone. We do feel that if that change in zone was approved, we would still be able to move forward with an 85-foot tower, which would be allowed under the Telecommunication Act. It doesn't provide the coverage that AT&T wants to do, but it is coverage. It is coverage necessary because after they are taken off the tank, there will be no service for AT&T customers, and that will impact not only their customers, but potential calls to 911 and public safety as well. They would rather have something than nothing at this point, and that, therefore, they're hoping that the change in zone would allow them to do that. Thank you very much for your time and consideration of the application.
Thank you. Next speaker?
That was the final speaker.
Final speaker. That'll close public hearing. Next, an oral report from the county executive. I'm going to assume since we don't have a county executive, we don't have an oral report.
There is no oral report, Mr. Chairman.
I got to see the county executive earlier today at the governor's inauguration, so I didn't know if he would make it back by now. I knew he had a lot of stuff he was doing there. That brings us up to the consent agenda. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I just want to understand all the funding under the community development line item. Just some questions, not.
Do you want to remove community development?
Please do.
Motion's been made to community.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hollander. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any other items to be removed?
Joanne, you removed that one item we talked about?
Yes, sir, it's not on. It's going to be
Okay,
reviewed.
thank you, yeah.
Any other items to be removed? I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Motion.
Mr. Hollander?
Second.
Ms. York? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any noes? With that, it is approved. Mr. Baker, Community Development.
Yeah, I just had general questions. This has started my third year and I'm still learning. Are all these funded just directly from the county? Is this not a grant? This is just what we decide to fund these charities, organizations?
It's funding that comes in through a specific revenue source, and then the Community Assistance Board takes the application, and they make these recommendations. Mike can probably give you a lot more detail than that overview.
This is through CDBG program,
Okay.
so it's all, it's
figured it
not
was
county
that.
money specifically, yeah.
It's via grant, basically. Okay. And so these numbers are the amounts, these are similar to what we've done last year, I assume?
Roughly, the CAB board looks each year at what the requests are. The requests obviously are higher on each case.
Okay.
So this is what the CAB board determines is how to spread the money out.
Yeah, what is the board you said?
Community Assistance Board.
And
The
how many?
CAB Board.
Who's on that board? I'm just curious. Is it just members from the
Community members.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to learn, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
I didn't know how this was generated, so.
Any other questions?
And Councilman, the CAB board is something where the county executive appoints people, and it comes to you all for
And how many people sit on
approval.
it?
There's 10?
There's
No,
supposed
7.
to be-
Okay.
There's 7 for the council district, and then I think there's 3 at large.
So they get a set amount of money, and then this board decides how it's allocated?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. I just didn't know. Just curious.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I would entertain a motion.
So moved. Second?
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And that finishes up with consent agenda items. That would move us up to bills for final passage, starting with Bill 5359.
Bill number 5359, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from R1E Single Family Residential District to C1 Neighborhood Commercial District per application RZ 24-09.
I make a motion to amend Bill number 5359, replace with substitute Bill 5359.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? With that, all in favor of amending or of accepting the substitute, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any discussion about the substitute bill?
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Myers, if this substitute bill, it changes the zoning, is that correct?
That's correct. Originally, the applicants were seeking the C1 Neighborhood Business District, and now they're seeking the CO Office District instead.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but as the gentleman mentioned, this would allow an 85-foot tower without any, without us getting involved, is that correct, or not?
Correct. An 85-foot tower, up to 85 feet in height, could be constructed in the CO or C1 zoning districts with a site plan and permits from the Community Development Department.
And what were they asking for originally? How large a tower was the original one?
The conditional use permit that was denied tonight was
35.
35, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I should, I should have worked on this prior to the last time the cell tower was planned for the kennel. But I've asked Rory and his staff to look at all cell towers being under conditional use permit, so we aren't into the rezoning, the spot rezoning, which I think is problematic for cell towers. We've got a residential area, and right smack in the middle now, you'll have a commercial, whether it's office or C1. So hopefully the ordinance comes before us prior to the next meeting, but it's for us to allow cell towers only in CUPs. So, you know, the concern is with technology, 100 years from now, cell towers, it's fiber, and we've got a cell tower, we've got a commercially zoned property smack dab in the middle of a residential area. I don't think any of us want that. I mean, we understand there's a need for cell towers, of course, but just the zoning issue is really what I have heartburn over. So just want to give you guys a heads up. Hopefully that'll be introduced at their next meeting. So just FYI.
Do you have anything about this particular bill? Do you have any comments on this particular bill?
No.
Okay. Any other comments on this bill? I would note that to go from C1 to CO, I think is an improvement. And I know in our last meeting, Amram was here, and one of the concerns was what happens if, to Mr. Baker's point, technology changes means we really don't need that tower there anymore. And evidently in the lease with Ameren, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's nothing on the tower for a year, the tower has to be brought down. So there is, I know that was one of the things that people were worried about, of just having a fledgling tower, for lack of a better word, sitting out there. So it sounds like that is in their agreement with Ameren, and that is part of that. With no other discussion, I would ask you to call the roll.
Substitute Bill number 5359, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from R1E Single Family Residential District to CO Office District per application RZ 2409.
Councilwoman York?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
No.
Councilman Swanson?
No.
Councilman Brazel?
No.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
No.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
And with that, the bill fails. Moved on, next bill for final passage is 5360.
Bill number 5360, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A Agricultural District to RR Single Family Residential District per application RZ 2408.
Any questions or comments on this bill? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Bill number 5360, an ordinance amending the zoning district map of the County of St. Charles, Missouri by rezoning land from A Agricultural District to RR Single Family Residential District per application RZ 2408.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Councilman Swanson?
No.
Councilman Brazel?
Yes.
Councilman Elam?
Yes.
Councilman Hollander?
Yes.
Councilman Hammond?
Yes.
Could you say that again?
Yes.
And Councilwoman York?
Yes.
And with that, Bill 5360 passes. That moves us on to Bill 5361.
Bill 5361, an ordinance amending Section 115.710 of the ordinances of St. Charles County, Missouri concerning the Personnel Administration Plan and amending the 2025 budget adopted by Bill number 5355 for positions within the St. Charles County Department of Community Development, Building, and Code Enforcement Division.
I'd like to make a motion to table this bill. It's undergoing some updates, and Mr. Hammonds would like to, be here when this comes around. So.
Motion to table?
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Dave
Your
Hammond?
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The bill is tabled. That gets us to bills for introduction, starting with Bill 5363.
Bill number 5363, requested by Ryan Graham, sponsored by Patty York. An ordinance authorizing execution of Amendment Number 1 to Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission's State Block Grant Agreement, Airport Improvement Program Grant, Project 24-111A1, CFDA 20.106, for the design and engineering only of a runway pavement mill and overlay project at St. Charles County Regional Airport, Smart Field.
Any questions or comments on this bill? Seeing none, that wraps us up for bills to introduction, and that gets us to announcements and miscellaneous. Anyone? Mr. Baker?
Yeah. I just want to take this time to thank the men and women of the Highway Department, the Parks Department, and whomever worked in snow removal. I mean, this snow event was kind of unique, and I don't remember us getting that many inches of snow at one time with the cold temperatures that didn't allow the chemicals to work properly. Keep in mind, these folks are the ones in the middle of the night working on the snow removal while we're thankful we don't have to be out. So I've done snow removal. It's not fun. John, thank you. John, thank you. Ted is not here, and thank everybody. So I know it's a thankless job, and you probably get a lot more criticism than you get thanks. So I want to take this opportunity to say thanks. So, thank you.
Yes. Thanks for that.
Mr. Baker? Mr. Brazel?
I got a lot of calls about MoDOT in Southwest St. Charles County, and like Mr. Baker said, the Highway Department, John Diaz, did a great job. I mean, our roads, out in our rural roads, they were clean, no snow, no ice, and the state did not even plow Southwest St. Charles County. It was embarrassing. The roads were like Alaskan roads. There were so many complaints.
Ice road trucker.
Highway
Ice road
F,
truckers.
DD, DZ, they weren't plowed, and they were just ran over, and it got so packed, it was so thick, they couldn't even plow it. It was so cold. And Joanne, she tried to help. We had a conversation with MoDOT and Andy, you know, God love him. I just feel sorry. I mean, MoDOT's just a mess. It's a mess. And I all the guys working, they work hard. The MoDOT guys, I felt sorry for them, but my goodness. They said they had 35 trucks that were wrecked or stuck. They had, the windshield shed was down half their trucks. Did you see that email, Joanne? It's terrible. And so I was trying to figure out how can county get out there and start plowing the roads, because our roads haven't even plowed. You couldn't even get emergency vehicles down. But then once we start doing that, it's going to be expected from MoDOT. And we can't get reimbursed, so it's just a mess. So I don't know what we can do to make it better, but I've never seen it so bad. I've been out there 30 years. It's never been that bad ever. And we had so many complaints. So you guys saw that. It was terrible. But you did a great job, John. And so did the Parks Department. All the parks were perfectly clean, too. It was amazing. You just couldn't get to them because the highway MoDOT wasn't plowed.
You had to have a snowplow to get to the park. There you go.
Yeah.
To go on a different note, I want to welcome Councilwoman York to us for the next 4 years. I'm looking forward to your experience as being a mayor. So now we have 2 municipal people up here, so that's good.
God help us.
With her and I both coming from
Partners
that
in
level,
crime.
we kind of have a different view of things coming from the city level. So I look forward to serving with you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to the inauguration on Monday. I'm super excited about it. I got tickets for that. So never did this before in my life, but since I was elected, we got tickets, and so it's going to be exciting. There's quite a few people from St. Charles County going to be there, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Congratulations being elected. That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's fun.
Pretty awesome.
Safe travels with that. With that, I would point out that today was the swearing-in ceremony for the 58th governor, so got a chance to go to that earlier today. And a lot of times there's a parade that happens, but today Governor Kehoe decided that he wanted to do something a little different. And if you paid attention to his campaign, he was very big on first responders and with our military. So he did a special salute to heroes to kick off the events this morning at 9 o'clock, where he recognized firefighters, police officers, and some military folks. And ladies and gentlemen, our own Chief Frizz was nominated by his peers, and he was recognized today by Governor Kehoe, and he brought up the fact that this was his last act as lieutenant governor right before he became governor. So congratulations to Chief Frizz, very well-deserved honor. You did a nice job saluting us today. We appreciate that. You know, it's great when you have really good people, because people from all over the state showed up to support him, and the lieutenant, or the attorney general, had very nice things to say about our chief, all well-deserved. It's amazing he has 40 years of service and he's only 45. I don't know how you did that, but well done. With that, I would entertain a motion to oh, sorry.
I don't know if you guys noticed, we have some Boy Scouts in the
Oh,
back.
good call.
They were here to show up, and I do believe they were asking, wanted to meet with some of us and ask some questions, just for the rest of the council to know. So
So-
thank you guys for showing up.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here, and we're getting you out pretty early.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're going to have to go to school tomorrow, because I think we're doing that again, because John and his guys did a good job of getting the snow off. So with that, I would entertain a motion to dismiss.
Motion.
Second?
Motion and second. All those in favor? We are dismissed. Thank you.